Now, live from the Rockstar Worldwide Towers and on demand 24/7, it's time for As the World Turns in the Juniverse. From Coaching World International, it's June Davidson and Dian Anderson, making a difference in your business and your life. Now, without further ado, let's enter the Juniverse.
And this is June, and that's what I say, I am universally speaking. This, of course, has been done for years, that this tagline has been with me. And I thought tonight we have in studio Hebe with us, and that I wanted to give an overview, which we haven't talked about before, and the stories behind the scene of how all of these things happen. You know, life is just a wonderful adventure. And what you need to know is you need to be open to the adventure itself, and we call it a Juniventure. So you'll go off in your own world, and the stories around what happens in your life, and you go look back and you laugh about them. You say, oh, how did I get here, and why, and how did this happen? So I wanted to give you a little bit of a background, because I had absolutely no intentions of ever going into the speaking world or ever going into even writing curriculum. I had an awesome real estate business. I had 5 offices operating in one city. I had offices in hotels. I moved entire companies. I moved the Motown record company from Detroit out here to Hollywood and Beverly Hills. I would set up agents, real estate agents in one company and real estate agents on the other end. And it was all a big party. I mean, I auctioned off houses, and I might auction off 7 houses in one day. I specialized, and I wrote curriculum for the state of California in the probate arena mainly, because that was my specialty, was to actually auction off from trust and depressed housing that had gone back, and then the field of probate. I even wrote columns in the Daily News. Not being an attorney, I did state that it was coming from the real estate side of things. So when you're in life, if you'll allow the things to come into your space and sort of be open to a change, because the more determined you're not going to allow the change, then it's going to make it for you anyway. So here I am. My friend Connie Yambert was president of the National Speakers Association, and she had to go early to meetings, and she kept after me and said, June, just go to one of the meetings with me, ride over with me and be there, and then we'll come home together. So she finally convinced me, and here I am at the National Speakers Association, but she's in a board meeting because she conducts all of this before the meetings get started, and there's a speaker that is there for the day. And so I'm saying, you know, what can I do to help you? And it was Paul Karasik who wrote the book, How to Make It Big in the Seminar Business. So he's setting up all of his equipment. He's truly a master at the music equipment and the speaker equipment. So he said, yes, just go right ahead. He had some items in those days. It was tapes, and we haven't even hit the CDs time. And he had his books at the back that McGraw-Hill had published, How to Make It Big in the Seminar Business. So I took the products to the back of the room, and I set them up on a table. And I thought, well, this isn't all bad. At least I've got something to do and not just sit here and drink coffee. Well, the hotel had double booked the room. We had to pick up and move out actually on a patio, a huge patio. So here I am carting. What do I know about back of the room products? Nothing. I'm in the real estate business. So now I have my back of the room product set up, and I'm in the back of the room. I became fascinated because he wasn't like a speaker. It was more like activities were going on, and he's talking about his book, and he'd have me hold up the book and things of this nature. And of course, I'm into the selling field. He finished that day. I sold everything on the table, and I was taking orders. And that was the end of it. So I enjoyed the day in that it gave me something to sell, and I believe in what he was doing. So the next thing, and Paul had never set up doing events and seminars across the nation. He gives me a call, and he has a partner, and they're setting up across the nation to do the seminars. So he said, well, June, could you join us in New York and handle the back of the room products. And I thought, well, I haven't done that before. I'll just go there and handle the back of the room products and then come home. So I did that maybe for 4 or 5 events. They had one convention one year for all of the seminar leaders. And oh man, it was just great because I believed in the products. I don't think I could sell anything if I didn't believe in him. And then he's making more products because he's recording what he's doing. And so they had some issues, he and the partner that he had, and they put the business up for sale. And some of the big training companies were looking at it. And I thought, oh, they can't do that because it would never be the same if it got lost in national seminars or Skill Path or something like that. So I just put together the money and whatever I did, I just put it all together and I bought the company. Well, I'm still not going to do seminars. There's no way I'm going to go to the front of the room and speak. And now this was just like a sideline to me because I had not done it fully. And at the time this happened, Tony Robbins' dad was already a part of the company, and Sylvia. So our first seminar that we had coming up, training, and it's a 3-day training. So we hired somebody, or Sylvia and Jim hired somebody out of Tony Robbins' camp and did it in Los Angeles. Well, Sylvia and Jim says he's not doing this right. And I said, well, give him time. This is his first time. And the second time was Chicago, and they fired him on the spot. And here's what the issue was. The whole thing was all about him. It wasn't about the people in the seat. And that's not how you do anything. If you're doing a business of whatever it is, it has nothing to do with you. You may have the knowledge and the training, but it has to do with the results and what the people in the room are getting. And this is true with any business. I don't care if it's insurance. It's extremely important that your people get the best package at the best price you can possibly give them. It's about them. It's not about you. So the next thing we were doing, Washington, D.C., and who do you think had to come to the front of the room? I said, I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it. No one had the knowledge that I had. So I came to the front of the room. And that has been a long time ago, like maybe 95 or 96. And then I went into the teaching mode because this is how I did real estate. This is how I did everything. It has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the client. And I started writing curriculum. I started doing all of this. I wrote courses for the state of California for the real estate. Then I started getting sponsorship. I taught on board cruise ships. I just, these are the things you just do. If you're going to do it, you just might as well just put the pieces together. And I realized then we needed to expand on the back of the room products. And at that time, coaching had been around a little bit, but not much. So I became involved in the study of coaching and got involved with Thomas Leonard, who had Coachville. Before that, he had done Coach U. And it was a wonderful experience because we created the forms. We would get together in a group and go to his convention. And it was just awesome at what could happen. So it's a natural, if you've written a book, you take the book and write it into curriculum or into the seminar format, which is very similar because we believe in the experiential learning, which is what you do when you're teaching, is you give the experience to the students. That's how they learn. And I studied under Jeanette Voss. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to find out everything that makes it tick. And she wrote the book, The Learning Revolution. So I watched as she structured this and how she would put everybody into activity to where they owned it. So it was just awesome to absorb all of this information. So the curriculum I began to write, of course, I could almost take any subject and I could see and feel where the activity needed to be done. I wrote a lot of things for the doctors. I didn't understand the surgeries, but I could see what needed to happen for them to take ownership or the study part of it. So it became an art of putting in activities, of putting in, fill in the blanks, of creating an ongoing experience that they were learning. And then, as I said, realizing that coaching was a natural part of this. If you had written a book and you were doing a seminar around the book, those people that are in your room want you to coach them. So I started writing coaching courses, and I put the pieces together and started training coaches. And it started to develop. It was truly, it's just like you get involved in something, and I get involved in it. I don't stand on the outside not doing anything. And I'm downloading. It's what I say. I download just direct to make things happen. So I downloaded things that had never been done in the coaching field. It's it's one of the things that I downloaded. It's called ATAP, Accessing Your Truth to Accelerate Your Process. You are not who you think you are. You are what has been put in you. And what comes up from the hippocampus is always the negative. It is more powerful and easier and critical in accessing so quickly because it carries a very negative energy. And it comes in, and I say it takes over the theater of your mind, which is the frontal lobe. It's the frontal cortex. So I say the negative that somebody else has put into you. You wouldn't sabotage yourself. It's there playing in your theater. So the development came through. How does one access something? How does one know how to process this, to clean up and not live in what somebody else has put into you and has become such a part of you? So that's how I developed and worked on what do you do to interrupt the brain. And I started studying this and created patterns because everybody acts and reacts differently. So I train coaches how to take a process, and it's based on the very time you come into life to where you are now. It has nothing to do with therapy. Remember, therapists keep you in the past. They keep you in that until somehow, and I'm not sure how it's worked out, but a coach doesn't. And trained in the method that we've been using, and you're put on a 30-day program, and you can break these patterns and never, ever have to step into them again the rest of your life. Because you working with the coach and the coach working with you, you create something that is you. You create that. And so in what I'm doing and working, and I'm going to read the coach's pledge because this is what I'm talking about right now, and this is the value. So we have a pledge at Coaching Firm International. It's the Action Coach Pledge. For coaching to have meaning, it must have a life. It must transcend you and me and become us. If I truly coach, I see in you a life that is not me, and I champion it. See, I see your life and I champion it. And you awaken the possibilities of each of your dreams. Your dreams may have been just lying there, and all of a sudden, with the coach that is highly trained, those dreams can come up, and it'll awaken the possibilities of things you thought were totally dormant. So, and awaken the possibility of each of your dreams. In an enlightened way, you then grow out of your old self. That's what we were talking about, the negative and what has been put in you. In an enlightened way, you then grow out of yourself and you become something exciting and new. It's a new you because you've gotten rid of all of the negative that other people have put into you. So you grow to be a new person. And to become something exciting and new, you will begin to have wonderful kinds of experiences. And you cannot enter this kind of a coaching session clutching yourself. You must enter it without any boundaries. You must give yourself to the coaching process. And you must be willing to celebrate your accomplishments. We need to know that. We need to know that when we have accomplished, we celebrate. We need to not hold back because the coach coaches you and they tell you where the light switch is because they're hearing all of this beneath the words. We coach on vibrations and listening beneath the words. But you, the PBC, we call them the PBCs, the person being coached, and it's just an adorable name for us. So who's your PBC today? So then the PBC has to turn on the light switch. We can only take them through their possibilities. We can only take them through that. to awaken in them something new, a dream that might have been there a long time ago, or the possibilities of really, truly stepping into their greatness. This is truly what it's all about in the coaching field. So when we introduce you to our coaching process in the very beginning, we have designed the book and our process, because there's all sorts of things we have in it. It's not just a workbook, but it's a depth to process your life and to be able to process or allow the processing of the PBC from the past, present, and the future. You have choices. Sometimes you're so deep within the negative that you don't know how to make the choices. You've got to clean up the theater in order to allow the possibility of the newness to just flood in and take over. And it's an energy, it's an in-depth. You have those choices. And when you begin to face your challenges, you can make a choice that's different from the life you've had. You can make a new choice. So you're on a journey of your own destiny. And what we want you to do is just embrace the destiny and face the challenge and learn through the outcome. No, there's no perfection. We wouldn't be on the face of the earth if we were perfect. So there's all sorts of learning processes along the way. And it's delightful. And sure, there's going to be setbacks. But what happens is when you're using a highly trained coach, especially in the type of coaching that we train, then you have the choice. You can choose a coach to champion you. And that can make all the difference in the choices you make, because they keep asking you, what are the possibilities? What are the direction? What outcome do you think would happen? What would happen if you didn't do this? Oh, we train in the questions that just take you direct to where you need to bring everything up in you. So they work with you while you explore all of your possibilities. This is just like opening another door in the process of, as I say, loving to live and living to love. If you love your life and you're living to that love and that energy, it is awesome. There's not anything that you can't do. And even if your dream has been, like I say, a ballerina, and you might have had a disability, why not live it through somebody else? Take a child and watch that. It will give you an experience that you couldn't have had. You can see your dream come true in someone else. So there's always the possibilities to relive and make life different. So I dedicate all of our teaching to your love and to your exploration, to your journey and your fulfillment of the wonderful world of life itself. This is what it's all about. This is how we teach people. And that's part of the coaching world. Why not? It is awesome. And the rewards that you have as a coach in seeing somebody come through and live this journey that they couldn't have lived. They wouldn't have even known what door to open up. So it's a process. And there's ways that as we train a coach, they need to select and come where their greatest interest is to be a coach. And we niche you. We interview you. We niche you. You're not just a coach. You're not a life coach. I'm telling you, we niche you right down to the little nth degree. Because I have to tell you this. Who gets paid more money? A general practitioner or cardiovascular surgeon? And you cannot be the cardiovascular surgeon in the coaching business unless you know you can go down in depth in that niche and explore it and bring it up and be able to ask those questions and watch somebody else grow from it. Because there are different things that people are looking for in the coaching process. And we're going to talk about that because there's things that they need and they want in life. So we're going to talk about the things most wanted and needed. So the coaches that are listening will understand even further why there is a tremendous need for highly trained coaches. And true, we don't have like license or guidelines. All we can have is our experience of coaching and being trained and continuing the education. I don't stop today. If there's something I can read or something I can learn to make it better in how we grow and how we assist you and watch you in all of your possibilities, watch you do your breakthroughs, watch you get out of the depressed state, and we live it with you. So we want to be able to go through this and have you understand what you can get from some of our coaches that have been trained and that are at Coaching Firm International.
Now,
So
June,
go ahead.
you have made a lot of great points, and I hate to interrupt, but you have sparked so many great points. You have a caller right now with some questions for you.
Wonderful. Let's welcome our caller.
Are you there, ma'am?
Oh, yes, yes.
You're on the line in the Juniverse.
Yes, thank you very much.
And
Hi,
to whom
June,
am I
how are you?
speaking?
Hello?
Yes, and to whom
Hi.
am I speaking?
This is Edwin Dieudonné from Staten Island,
Hebe,
New York.
yes. How are you?
I am fine, very fine. I listen soulfully to your coaching conversation, and I would like to ask you a question about the curriculum
Yes,
of the coaching program.
yes. And the question is?
What are the different specialities that you offer in the program?
We invite you into an interview and find out first your experience, but more than even your experience, we have to find out what your love is. Which direction are you headed in life? And I always say, what would make you the happiest? Coaches work around eliminating problems and difficulties for other people. So if someone has a love of doing certain things, like we've niched one of our coaches, she was a teacher and she coaches parents with children between the ages of 3 and 5 years old. They're getting ready to go to school. It's traumatic, and how the parents can work with the child, and it's from the teacher's desk. So if I ask you a question right now, what area of life and living makes you the happiest of all? What would it be?
I would say education, of course. Education, teaching. That's my area of specialization, and I believe this is what I was born to do, to educate and teach.
Yes.
And I love to teach. I love to educate. I love to see a person in a situation that they didn't understand, and I help them reach some kind of understanding together with their input and see the amelioration and an opening out of the whatever the trials of tribulation the person was going through, and that I really do love.
Wonderful. But I'm going to tell our audience a little bit about, because I had asked earlier, Hebe, if she could take the time to come in studio with us, because she has a tremendous background. And remember what she said and how happy it made her to go into teaching. And I had no idea that that would make me happy. She has her master's degree in teaching, but she studied nursing in France. So she started in the nursing, and she didn't just do nursing, honey. She would take over and head up a whole center, because this is who and what she is. If she's going to do something, she's going to make it the greatest of all. And so therefore she started studying and got her master's degree in teaching at Columbia University, because she felt the drive to do this. And when you can listen to her talk, you can feel her love of teaching. So then I'm going to ask her another question. Hebe?
Yes?
Yes. If there's one area of particular kind of teaching, which one would make you the happiest of all, that you could really, truly help people?
I would say that I am a very blessed person. I have many gifts, but I do know that I can't do mostly everything. If a person asks me, what is your specialization, it will be easier for me to answer to a person who asks me what you cannot do. I
I
was
know,
very.
sweetheart, but I'm asking you, you've got so many talents. And what she did is she ended up with two back surgeries. And then she would not take pain medication. This is what I think is her greatest thing of all. Of course, this is me talking. And you know, when you coach, you got to allow the person to make their own decision. But sometimes when you're coaching, you hear a vibration beneath the words. And when she started telling me that then she did integrative medicine, holistic healing. She's a healer. She's a healer. And what a wonderful, wonderful walk of life. But in addition to that, it's done scientifically. She's a scientist. So she has all of these pieces and has pulled the energy together in holistic healing. And today, I would say that is needed more than anything. So even back in the holistic healing, who, Hebe, needs it most?
I would say that it is a blessing. It is a gift that was given to me for me to have the courage to have two back surgery and never take one Tylenol. I pray and I study very,
Yes.
just like I was going to any university. I study by myself. I learn by myself the ways and means to cope.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you another question here because you've given us back this information. So, do you think people that have had surgery need your talent more than anybody walking the face of the earth because they're in pain?
Oh, I think any person who's going to have surgery, because it is such a distressing situation that occurred to the body, and which is necessary at times, because I'm very pro allopathic medicine as well, and I think they
Yes.
all should be integrated together. A person who's going to have surgery needs to be well prepared
Yes.
for the preoperative care and as well as the postoperative care, because the surgeon can perform the surgery very well, but if the person is not well prepared holistically
Yes.
and for pre-op and post-op, then the surgery sometimes may not be successful. The patient may not know what to expect and how to take a simple or to perform a simple movement that could bring the circulation flowing better than, taking some other remedies. But I'm not against any person, taking allopathic medicine. They are all necessary. They all
Yes.
should
Yes.
be integrated together.
So if you became almost like a coach, that when a person realized they're going to have to go in for surgery, because you said some awesome words. You said stress. They're under tremendous stress. And these are some of the top most wanted coaching topics. People want to be coached from the stress. And you just said it. Look at the stress of even having to go into the pre-op. And if they've got a coach standing by them, because here's one of the top most 50 wanted coaching topics that people are looking at. Get on a path. So you see, you're putting them on the path. You're taking, you're questioning them. You're allowing them to get the stress out of their life in order to go in so the body can be better to heal itself. And who better than somebody like you to do this? So under the Get on the Path, they also want to develop a spiritual side, a connection. They want to have their personal mission, their purpose, their vision. So when they can reorient the life after coming out of surgery, because look at what happened to you. And yes, look what happened to you after those two surgeries. So you see now, with your experience, you can coach with an understanding and a listening of the vibration of the words and ask the right questions. You can ask questions that even no one except someone like you would know to ask about it. What are your concerns? How do you feel about this? Do you have a support system? How do you feel about they're reorienting their life. They want stronger relationships. Maybe there's something peaceful about it. But because of who you are and what you have done, you hold this space, my friend. And who
Yes,
needs it more?
it is sometimes very, very difficult to cope with those kind of health issues, and this is the reason why that I say to you that the primary thing I think is health education and wellness promotion, because
Yes.
if in the
Yes.
absence of health and wellness, everything else sometimes fails.
That's exactly it. If you don't have health and wellness, you have nothing, because it's another thing in the most wanted. They want to feel better physically and emotionally. So you see, you were talking about the stress. They need to get better at feeling better physically. They want to increase their quality of life, and it's their definition. But because of who and what you are, and because of the experiences you have had, I believe you're the cardiovascular surgeon in this side of the coaching business.
Oh, I don't know about that, but I do believe. I thank you very much, but I do believe that I have been well educated, and I study very well, and I am well versed, and I would love to have the opportunity, to help those who are still out in the cold, because there are so many people searching for relief, where
Yes,
relief is right there at hand.
yes. And one of
And
the things that you have, and I'm going to say again, you have a scientist background, but you've been able to pull in holistic healing. You've been able to do this, and you would coach the person around this to see if they, how they would react to it, to see if they could change. You would ask them about their diet. You would ask them about these things. You would bring them to the learning process because you have the knowledge to ask the right questions.
oh, yes.
You've been a clinician. You've been in this. I couldn't ask the questions. And asking questions is what a coach does. And you listen, you can tell by the tone of their voice if they're in stress, because that's who you are. You're highly intuitive. And with a talent like this, it's your decision, Hebe, but I am telling you, I think this is awesome. And
This
this
is,
is one of the things that I love to do is to
yes,
just, yes, go ahead.
yes, indeed. And in the coaching profession, it is very important for many people to get into this field that has so many specialities, and also because there are approximately only 80,000 coaches in North America, and the population now is asking for more coaches. And it is a field that is developing very rapidly, and many people, many professional people, or laymen as well, do not know about it. So
I
it
know,
is
but
a pleasure to see that you have brought this program online, so you can reach as many people as possible for this beautiful profession. It is such a beautiful, beautiful profession.
Yes, and you're bringing all of your talent to play in it for the people that need it. So you see, I believe that's why we have a walk in life like you. You're a teacher. You can write curriculum. You can do the teaching, and the teaching could be based around preparing yourself to go to surgery. And you would go and teach in the hospitals. It would give credit to the nurses, CEU credits. They could bring everybody coming in before they have surgery. You would have an awesome class on them preparing themselves for surgery and follow up as their coach.
Oh,
So you see, you
it is so
combine it.
beautiful.
So what do you think about that?
Oh, I think that is. I think perhaps you should be the one, who who ask yourself, what do you think about that? Because you are doing such a great service to humanity. And
Well,
it is so beautiful. And I am so happy that you are offering this program online. And you can reach as many people as possible. And the curriculum is not that long. 1 year of training for something like a coaching specialty. It is not that long, especially people can take the classes online, even if they do go to work and attend to their other obligations. I think it is beautiful.
this is why we did it, and thank you so much, Hebe, for that, because our coaching is done online, but it's done live. You have coaching books, you have, and another thing, I love made up words. So we give you coachercises. And that's just like you would do in a teaching class. It's an exercise that the PBC has to do to bring them to elevate themselves. So it's all of this, it's there for you. So we created Coaching Firm International like a law firm. So you can become a member of Coaching Firm International and be very specific, like the lawyers do. If you hired you wouldn't want a business contract attorney if you needed a litigating attorney. So if I were going to have surgery, I would hire you in an instant. I would go to the classes at the hospital. I believe you could go from one class to one hospital to another, teaching, preparing yourself for surgery, and then coaching through the process. And this is where you can give the CEU tremendous. And this is what is so great. When we find somebody, we build up who and what they are so they can take ownership in a particular area of coaching. You're teaching, you're a master in teaching. You bring the holistic part. You bring, because you've been through the surgery, you've been through the pain. You bring them everything. And you do it in questioning, just like you do in your teaching. I just think it's awesome. I just think it's awesome for you.
I think so too. And I will say that I do have a lot of expertise, knowledge, and experience. However, my expertise and knowledge come from knowing, going through the trial and the tribulation. It is not something that I just only study or read or learn in school or take in classes. I have gone through the trials and the tribulations, and I have learned how to rise above them.
And that's what you're going to teach, and that's what you're going to coach, and that's what you're going to write your book around.
Yes.
The knowing process of going through your trials and your tribulations and learning. There's a better outcome when you go through this.
Actually, speaking of learning, June,
yes,
Hebe,
dear.
you're not going to believe this,
What?
but Dick is here. And I think...
Let's welcome Dick on. By the way, Dick is a radio man from years and years ago. He's awesome. He also does seminars, and one of the songs that he wrote, The Traveling Man, has been picked up by Volkswagen. It is their theme song from The Traveling Man. So, Dick, welcome. Come on into the studio.
Coach's Corner is brought to you by Coaching Firm International. Are you having trouble marketing your coaching practice and getting the money you deserve? Need to be trained as an ATAP coach? Need to get into a rich niche? Need to create an irresistible package that gets outstanding results? Coaching Firm International, 626-791-1211. We offer all these services at CFI. We're set up like a law firm. Call CFI for an interview and take your coaching to an incredibly lucrative professional level. Call Dian, 626-791-1211, 626-791-1211. Coaching Firm International.
Thank you, Dick. That was awesome. And we do appreciate your being in studio with us. Can't wait until we have you on as one of our guests. And also, he has been on the first show that we did because he interviewed Diane and myself. Back to some of the stories again of the happenings in the coaching and the watching the people process. And Hebe, it's just a natural for her. I mean, I'm not going to let her go anywhere. When you find somebody with this kind of talent and you know they will step into this and they will fill it, and think of the many people they can get through those trials and tribulations. And that's, by the way, that's part of in the 50 most wanted topics. We didn't go through all of this, but it is the trials and tribulations. And if they've got a coach such as Hebe, they've got it made, because she will refocus them on their life. She will be able to question them because it's in the knowing. And you can't know something just by somebody telling you. Knowledge is nothing until you have the experience. So you can have all the knowledge, you can do all the studying in the world, and it is nothing unless you use it and have the experience. So she would take all of her knowledge and her knowing of trials and tribulations and be able to ask the right question and to reach the depth of the trials that a person is going through. And I think there's not anything more difficult than facing surgery, major surgery, and you see so much of it today, and even a child and what you go through that. So it's a learning process, but she puts it into, like we said, experiential. It is their life that she's coaching them to see, and to see the possibilities and to see the outcome and what would they like to do. She can guide and direct from her knowledge by asking the questions. Because let me tell you one thing, you can tell somebody something, I'm going to tell you right now, and you're not going to get their attention until you ask a question. This is how the mind itself operates. I have to put my mind in gear if you ask me a question. So this is what she knows, how to ask the questions around those trials and tribulations. And I can't say that I could. Oh, I could ask the questions. I ask a lot of them. But the depth of the understanding, even in the way she would ask it, and the words she would choose, is powerful, because again, it comes from her knowing and her having experienced the trials and tribulation. It's not the knowledge. She got knowledge after knowledge, but immediately when she would study, she would take that knowledge and she would put it into the experience to help someone else and to watch it grow. And knowing she wanted to do integrative medicine and the holistic type healing, and hear her coming from a medical background. So what is a better world to live in than to have the integration? And as everyone knows, the back of my calling card, which is more important than who and what I am, says, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. It is a quote of Helen Keller's. I look at that life and where she would have been. Look at the stress her family was under. But look at together what Anne could bring out in her. Look at together what someone like Hebe could bring out in a person that is totally down. And that's why they seek coaches, because they're looking for areas. Number one, there's a financial area. Now, this would not, of course, be Hebe, but there are people that have gone through a lot of things that could make a financial coach, because they have the knowledge. People want to start saving money. They want to start investing. They want to do things. And somebody that has this kind of knowledge would know the right questions. They would know, how much do you think you have to save out of each paycheck? They would get a handle on their spending. Where are you spending the money? What is your kind of lifestyle? What are your habits around money? What are your thought processes around money? So there's a whole line of questions we have in a relationship to money. I've written a book, Coaching the Millionaire Within. If you can't think differently and you stay in poverty, that's the way you're going to stay. So what is your relationship? How do you handle your debt? Your crises, you'll go into crises. So people are seeking coaches that are considered financial coaches. They need this, and it may be the overwhelming thing, but there's a lot of underlying stress that goes with it that could cause the physical problem. So first, they'll call us and want to know, and this is why we've taken coaching firm and down to niching. We have one coach that just works with the CEOs in their business. She's created a fresh eyes assessment. She can take a look at the business and she can tell, but she coaches them through that with their possibilities of making a change. So here's another thing that everybody's looking for. They want to get more done in less time. They want to simplify their life. They want to, get some of the projects completed. What are they doing? How are they wasting their time? So there's automatic systems. Let me tell you something else that we do. We have an awesome profile. So when you come into coaching firm and when you become a coach, because this is masterful, it's just masterful. It's a profile as to where your talent is. And the top part of the profile, and when I said systems, this automatically makes my mind go into the Juniverse and pick up something else. A person that is like a systems person is Ray Kroc, that created McDonald's. He bought a hamburger stand, but he made his money in his system. So if a person is looking to make money, what is their talent? Me, I'm a high creator. I could just create these courses and do this all the time and teach. And this is a different way because I'm creating something new every day and I just love it. I really don't want to do anything. I don't want to be bothered on that other. So you're born in life with a talent. So we have the talent test that you can take. Like Oprah Winfrey, she's a star. She never developed a product. She promotes other people. But because of such a talent the woman has, she makes her money promoting other people. Well, look at Warren Buffett. He's what we call an accumulator. He makes money with money. He had to start from somewhere. But believe it or not, you're born in with a gifted talent. You might be like a Lord. You might be able to see everything. You might be like a supporter. And a supporter makes their money by supporting the teams. And look at Donald Trump. He's what we call a deal maker. He makes his money when he makes the deal because he knows how to structure it. It's just his talent. And George Soros is a trader. So each one is born with a talent. And when you stay in your talent, you're happy with your life. You celebrate your life because you're doing what makes you happy. And this is why selecting and pinpointing a coach is extremely important. Because if you have the talent around the money, for goodness sakes, I'm not there. I have my head in the Juniverse. I live there, but I love the creating. And people want to get more done in less time. We have all those organizing people. In fact, we have a coach that is an organizer. And so it's systems again. That's what got me off track. But this is whatever comes up, comes up. So you want to eliminate these things so you can do more in less time. And there's people out there that'll ask us. They want to communicate much more effectively. They want to be able to have the relationship. They want to say everything they need to say. You know, like some people will just, I say they're swallowing the poison of the past, which is what's been put in them, and they won't speak up. They don't know how to speak up. So a kind coach can coach them through this in baby steps to build the confidence. So they become a communication coach so that, people want to respond better. They don't have the confidence. They don't know what to ask for. But it is within them that they have the ability. They just need the right coach. And then there's a group of people that they just want to feel better physically and emotionally. They're down. They're depressed. They're going through all the stress like we talked about with Hebe. So you want to eliminate maybe the high living costs they've got. You have to find out through asking them questions. And we have intake sheets so that you can get to learn the person's lifestyle through the intake sheets. And through the first time when you coach them, you begin to pick up the pieces. So they may want to feel better. They need to have some time, reserve time for themselves. And the lifestyle, we coach around the habits and the lifestyle. So there may be a personal need within them that they want to have met. And this is a perfect coach if you're coaching around this. And there's a lot of people that want a better quality of life. So what is their definition of a quality of life? Maybe totally different from mine. I like to live with the wild animals. Somebody else might not like that. So you might want to have a lot more fun. And if you do, just come go with me. We don't even know where we show up. But they want to increase. So their quality of life is different from mine. So you've got to ask them these questions, and you've got to make them see a vision and what they can do to get there. And then we have truly wonderful relationship coaches. And we have Christian women coaches that coach on the principles of the Bible around relationships. So they're very specific in what they do. They want to learn maybe to enjoy people more, or want to step into adult relationships. It's difficult. So you ask and find out, but these are what the PBCs are asking us. And then some of them have, life is just a great big hassle for them. They want to stop having those problems. Well, most of the time they're creating the problems. They don't know it, but the coach may be coaching around, eliminating all the hassles of your life and really stepping in. So what are they tolerating? Oh, this is a great, what I call a coachercise. I mean, if you're tolerating something and you continue to tolerate it, then what do you expect your life to be? What are you waiting for? You got to create it now. What are you hoping for? Are you just living in that waiting business? So you've really, truly got to extend the boundaries. You've got to find out, and through the process of asking him the right questions. And my goodness, we have so much training in this question and that question, and why you do it, and why there's upsets. The whole thing is there. And then they want to get on a path. This is usually a spiritual path. A lot of the coaching for the Christian women is done through this. They want to discover their personal mission, their purpose, and their vision. They want to reorient their life exclusively around what their true values are. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people calling in for this type of coaching. And they want to develop a stronger relationship with God, a stronger relationship with themselves. And they will want to be internally peaceful. They're striving to get on a certain path. And the coaches there know exactly what questions to ask and what to find out and walk them through this. And then, of course, we have business coaches. Under the element here, we have people, a lot of people call in and want coaching that have a small business, because they want to, strengthen their professional network, or they may want to start a new business. In fact, I was talking to Dick earlier today, and it's awesome some of the work that he's doing around the businesses and the coaching and the startup business. But also, when your career is not going anyplace at all, and it usually happens at the age 50, because you lose it, you lose your self-esteem, you lose your confidence, and you may need a whole change in career. So it may be that he's a career transitional coach. So you've got to listen to this, what it is in business. They may need a strategic action plan. Oh, by the way, we have the business plan. I love it because Jim Horan, that wrote the one-page business plan, gave me permission, and I teach it. I will put it online. Our coaches all do it. They have to take a look at what their vision is, what their mission statement is, what their strategies are, what their objectives are, before they can even go into a plan of action. So if this is, we have a lot of things that support this. I've written as a thinking coach. Now that's based on James Allen, as a man thinketh. So when you take a look at all of the things that are there, and you take and do it in the actions and the steps of being a coach, it's just a whole new world that's opened up. It's opened up. And then we have the corporate work. We have a person who is awesome, Steffi Althouse, Dr. Steffi Althouse. She can immediately see the culture of teams, the meaning of teams, and what's breaking down. She has this innate talent of the fresh eyes assessment. She can open up and pinpoint where their difficulties are. She has this awesome talent. She can work coaching them through a strategic repositioning. She did. She's taken companies out of near bankruptcy into making money almost overnight. It doesn't happen overnight, because when you can see where your money is just being drained out of the company and you know what to do about it, talk about a talent and a need for this. So her work is done a lot of in the corporate and the business side of things. And there's also professional. People will call in that they have a practice. We have one coach that coaches a lot of the attorneys, because they're going through, each person is going through things, but somebody might want to develop a successful practice. They may be stepping out their own, a dental practice, whatever a professional they have, been qualified or gone to educational, gotten their degrees in it, and then don't know how to put the pieces. A coach can just do all of this. They just recognize and eliminate a lot of the startup and the high costs. They can say, is there a possibility that you could do without this in the beginning? Or is there a possibility you might lease this? What is the life of the equipment? And this person may not have even thought about it and looked at that, and they're out borrowing money to set up their dental practice.
Speaking of looking, I hate to do this to you, June, especially with such great information you've been putting out in the Juniverse today, covering all the different coaches. We have less than 1 minute left in the Juniverse today.
Okay, can I finish in that 1 minute? Because I have to tell
ma'am.
you, I was taken in a studio. This man saw me on a television show, and here's what he said about the June and the Juniverse, that I am a force of nature. I am operating outside the system. I know my stuff, and I have a heart as big as all outdoors, and I am a waterfall of words, clarity amid chaos, life as an overture, and around the bend, I'm mad as a hatter. Never a dull moment, making it up as I go along. If you slow down, you die. So expect the unexpected, making my own sense, building my parachute on the way down. So come and join me in the Juniverse at Coach's Corner.
Thank you for joining us in the Juniverse. For more info on June